You can slash your calories, cut out the bread, swear off sweets, and still watch the scale refuse to move. You can sweat through an hour at the gym 5 days a week and gain weight anyway. And here is the part nobody likes to say out loud. Roughly 9 out of 10 people who lose weight on a strict diet are back to their starting weight within a year, and a lot of them are heavier than when they started. It isn't weak willpower. It isn't bad genetics. What actually happens is that almost everyone steps on the same 10 rakes, and most people never see those rakes lying in the grass until the handle hits them in the face. Stay with me to the end, because mistake number 7 and mistake number 10 are the two almost nobody talks about, and they're the ones quietly sabotaging everything else you're doing right. If you want clear, honest health information explained in plain language, hit subscribe and leave a like. That is how this channel grows. The goal is 300,000 subscribers, and you are part of making that happen. Checklists and practical health posts go out on my Telegram channel, and the QR code is on your screen right now. Let's start with mistake number 1, the one you almost certainly are making right now, even as you watch this. You are underestimating how many calories you actually eat in a day. The most common sentence anyone working in weight management hears is some version of this: I barely eat anything, but I just can't lose weight. This is the #1 complaint in clinical practice. Scroll the comments under any weight loss video and you will see hundreds of variations of the same line. And here is what is actually happening. You are not counting a large portion of what you put in your mouth every day. Drinks somehow do not count. The cream and sugar in your coffee somehow do not count. The salad dressing, even the healthy olive oil one, somehow does not count. The little nibble of cheese while you were cooking dinner. The handful of trail mix at 3 in the afternoon because your blood sugar was crashing. The small cookie at the office because someone brought them in. The piece of fruit before bed because it's just an apple. The handful of almonds because almonds are healthy fats. None of this registers as eating in your mind. But to your body, every single one of those bites is calories that have to be burned or stored. Let me give you a concrete number. 1 tablespoon of olive oil, and I love olive oil, I cook with it daily, contains about 120 calories. 2 tablespoons in your salad, 1 tablespoon in the pan to saute vegetables, and you have just added about 360 calories to your day that you will not remember when you are wondering why your weight is stuck. A medium latte with whole milk, another 200. A handful of almonds in the afternoon, another 200 to 300. Now you have rationally accounted for 1,400 calories in a day, but your actual intake was closer to 2,000, maybe even higher. That 500 calorie gap is exactly what is keeping the number on the scale frozen, or worse, climbing. Here is what is worth trying, and you can do it tomorrow. For 1 or 2 days, write down absolutely everything that enters your mouth. Not meals, everything. The splash of cream in your coffee, the 3 bites of your kid's leftover pancake, the breath mint, the chewing gum that has sugar in it, the drizzle of honey on your yogurt. Most people who do this honestly are stunned at what they see by the end of day 2. It is not about counting calories for the rest of your life. It is about seeing the real picture, just once, so you understand what you are working with. From there, the path forward becomes obvious. Mistake number 2 is chronic sleep deprivation. I know this sounds like the most overused piece of health advice on the internet. Get more sleep, you have heard it 10,000 times. But repetition does not cancel out the biology, and the biology here is brutal. When you sleep poorly or sleep too little, your body's sensitivity to insulin drops. Let me explain that term clearly so we are on the same page. Insulin is a hormone made by your pancreas. Its job is to escort the sugar from your bloodstream into your cells so they can use it for energy. When your cells become less sensitive to insulin, which is what happens with chronic sleep loss, that handoff gets slower and clumsier. Your metabolism slows down. The food you ate gets burned less efficiently. The energy your body did not use by the end of the day gets parked somewhere. And the body's favorite parking spot is fat storage. It gets worse. Sleep deprivation drives up cortisol, the stress hormone made by your adrenal glands. Cortisol on its own steers you straight toward fast carbohydrates. Bread, pastries, anything sweet, anything starchy. And then there is the leptin and ghrelin problem. Leptin is the hormone that tells your brain you are full, stop eating. Ghrelin is the hormone that tells your brain you are hungry, find food now. When you do not sleep enough, leptin drops and ghrelin climbs. The result is a triple hit. Your metabolism is slower, your cravings push you toward the highest calorie foods on the planet, and your hunger signal is louder than it should be. If you are sleeping 5 or 6 hours a night and trying to lose weight at the same time, you are not in a fair fight. You are fighting your own physiology while it has a grip on your ankles. Here is the part that should really land. Even if you fix 9 of the 10 mistakes in this video and leave this one untouched, your results will be cut in half, maybe by 2/3. And this does not just affect your weight, it affects how well you recover from exercise, how your skin looks, how your immune system fights off infections, how steady your mood is, how clear your thinking feels, and even your sex drive. Sleep is the maintenance crew that comes in every night and repairs the damage of the day. Skipping sleep is like firing the entire repair team and expecting the building to stay standing. 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep is not a luxury. It is a metabolic tool, and if you are not getting it, starting your weight loss with a diet plan instead of with sleep is like patching the roof while the foundation cracks. A pattern that comes up over and over in primary care. A woman named Linda in her early 50s comes in convinced she has thyroid problems. She is exhausted, can't lose weight, craves sugar all afternoon. Her thyroid panel comes back perfectly normal. The honest conversation reveals she has been sleeping 5 hours a night for 3 years because her teenage son keeps unpredictable hours and she lies awake until she hears him come home. 8 weeks of going to bed by 10:30 regardless of what time he came home, and the cravings dropped, the energy returned, and she lost 9 pounds without changing anything else about her eating. That is what fixing the foundation looks like. Mistake number 3 is too little protein and too little fiber in your daily food. This is where so many people quietly lose the battle without realizing it. When your protein intake is too low, your body inevitably makes up the missing calories with carbohydrates. This is a stable, well-documented pattern in nutrition research. Not enough protein equals automatic drift toward more carbs. And the carbs people drift toward are not whole grains and lentils. They are refined carbohydrates, white bread, pasta, crackers, cereal, which are essentially empty calories. You can eat a huge plate of pasta and feel hungry an hour later. The same plate volume of grilled chicken and roasted vegetables keeps you full for 4 or 5 hours. Same volume on the plate, completely different signal to your brain. How much protein you specifically need is a real conversation to have with your doctor or a registered dietitian, because it depends on your weight, your age, your activity level, and especially your kidney function. But the broad ballpark you will see in modern nutrition guidance is around 1 gram of protein per kilogram of body weight per day for moderately active people, and meaningfully more than that for people who are training hard. That is a framework for discussion, not a personal prescription. Protein sources are simple and accessible. Eggs, fish, chicken, turkey, lean beef, cottage cheese, Greek yogurt, beans, lentils, tofu, and you want to spread that protein across your meals rather than dumping all of it into dinner. Your body cannot store protein the way it stores fat. Whatever you do not use within a few hours gets converted or excreted. Even distribution wins. Now fiber. This one is simpler. When your fiber intake is low, almost everything you eat gets absorbed completely into your bloodstream. When you eat enough fiber, and the general target you will see in research is around 25 to 30 grams per day, a meaningful portion of the calories and fats from your food simply do not get absorbed. Soluble fiber, the kind in oats, apples, beans, and ground flaxseed, actively binds to carbohydrates, bile acids, and some fats, both the kind you need and the excess you do not, and carries them out of your system. There is a second effect on top of that. Fiber and vegetables physically fill your stomach. The more volume in your stomach, the louder the signal your brain receives that you are full. And when that signal is loud and clear, you do not overeat. Not because you are forcing yourself to stop, but because your body genuinely is satisfied. Fiber sources are everywhere once you start looking. Vegetables, leafy greens, berries, whole grains like oats and barley, beans, lentils, chickpeas, flaxseed, chia seeds, bran. The simple test right now is this. Look at your last meal. Was there a clear protein source on the plate? Were there vegetables? If yes, you are already moving in the the right direction? If no, that is the very first conversation worth having with a healthcare provider. Not about advanced supplements or fancy lab tests, but about whether the basic architecture of your plate is set up for you to succeed. Mistake number 4, and this might be the most important one in the entire video. If you understand this one, you will understand 99% of what makes long-term weight loss actually work. You have no sustainable system. Most people who decide to lose weight do not factor in 2 enormous variables: the current state of their body and their age. They just decide one Sunday that they are going to lose weight. They start a diet, they join a gym, they cut out bread, they have a number in their head, 20 pounds, 30 pounds, and that is the whole plan. What condition their body is actually in right now never enters the conversation. Do you have insulin resistance? Is your cholesterol elevated? Are there signs of metabolic syndrome? That's the cluster of high blood pressure, high blood sugar, excess belly fat, and abnormal cholesterol that often travels together. Or is your body basically healthy and you have just gradually put on 20 pounds over the past few years? How old are you? That last one matters more than people want to admit. At 25, your body forgives almost everything. You can eat questionably, sleep poorly, drink heavily, and your body absorbs the damage and bounces back. At 45, that forgiveness is gone. The same behaviors produce dramatically different results. If everyone who started a weight loss plan asked these questions first, they would build something that actually works for their specific body, instead of running someone else's program and being confused when it doesn't apply. What actually happens in real life? In the best case, the person loses weight by some deadline, a wedding, a beach vacation, a class reunion. They hit the number, and then the weight comes back. Often it comes back with reinforcements, an extra 5 or 10 pounds on top of where they started. This is the classic yo-yo pattern, well documented in dozens of studies on weight cycling. And people say things like, the keto diet worked for me, but Mediterranean didn't, or intermittent fasting helped my sister, but not me. But the truth is, it is not the specific diet that fails. Every diet is a temporary fix. The only thing that actually counts as a real result is keeping your target weight for 3 years or longer. That is the only honest measurement. Losing 15 pounds in 3 months proves almost nothing. Keeping those 15 pounds off 3 years later, that is the result that actually changes your health. Here is the mindset shift that makes all of this click. Losing weight is not a project. Losing weight is the side effect of getting healthier. And getting healthier means building up your body's resources: more energy, better lab numbers, normal blood pressure, deeper sleep, not just dropping a number on the scale. If you do not hold that bigger picture in your head, every diet becomes temporary, and your weight becomes a permanent problem you fight on a loop for decades. Most people view healthy eating as a list of prohibitions. Don't eat sugar, don't eat after 6, don't eat fat, don't eat carbs. That is a primitive way to think about it, and it does not survive contact with a stressful week. Real, lasting nutrition is a system you build into your life. And a system does not break the first time you have a bad day at work, because the system is part of how you already live. Mistake number 5 is ignoring insulin resistance. This one is genuinely tricky and it confuses a lot of people. A common conversation in primary care goes like this. Someone walks in and says, my blood sugar is normal, my A1C, that's the 3-month average blood sugar test, is normal, everything looks fine, but my doctor told me I might have insulin resistance. Are they making this up? Nobody is making it up. There is one test that most people have never heard of and have never been offered: fasting insulin. If your fasting insulin level is elevated and the threshold worth discussing with your doctor is generally in the single digits, with many specialists getting concerned above around 6, you may already have insulin resistance, even when your blood sugar and A1C still look completely normal. The reason is that your pancreas is compensating. It is pumping out extra insulin to keep your blood sugar in the normal range. The blood sugar reading you see on a basic panel reflects the result of that compensation, not the underlying strain. For a while, the system holds. Eventually, it does not. What does insulin resistance actually mean for your body? It is the seed from which the entire metabolic syndrome grows. It slows your metabolism. It puts fat in inconvenient places, particularly your abdomen, around your internal organs. It quietly causes fatty liver disease, fat accumulation inside the liver itself, which often progresses for years with no symptoms at all until it shows up on an unrelated ultrasound. It deposits fat into the pancreas, the very organ that is supposed to be making insulin in the first place. Your waistline grows, your blood pressure creeps up, your bad cholesterol, the LDL, rises. And every one of those changes traces back to insulin resistance as the upstream driver. Calling this a minor issue is like calling a small leak in your roof a minor issue while the water rots the wooden frame of your house. If you are over 40 and you have not had a fasting insulin test in the past year, that is genuinely worth bringing up at your next appointment. It is not part of a standard checkup at most clinics, so you usually have to ask for it specifically. And once you know the number, you have something to work with. You see it drift up, you make adjustments, less added sugar, less eating late at night, more movement, better sleep, and you recheck in 3 to 4 months. That is how you actually track metabolic health over time, instead of waiting for the moment when the damage becomes loud enough to be diagnosed. Mistake number 6 is not telling the difference between physical hunger and emotional eating. These are two completely separate states inside your body, and almost nobody learns to tell them apart. Physical hunger comes on gradually, builds slowly, will accept any food, and goes away when you eat. Emotional hunger comes on suddenly, is intense, demands a specific type of food, almost always sweet or starchy or fatty, and does not go away even after you eat. When emotional hunger hits and you do not recognize it for what it is, you eat. And not slowly, not selectively. You eat whatever is closest and fastest. The mechanism here is older than civilization. When you are under stress, your body launches the same biochemistry it has launched for hundreds of thousands of years, the fight or flight response. 300 years ago, that biochemistry was useful. You were either running from a predator or fighting an enemy. Now, you are sitting at a desk, staring at a deadline. But your brain does not know the difference. Your brain registers stress and pumps out the same hormones, cortisol, adrenaline, and triggers the same instruction. Find energy, fast, now. And the fastest energy available on planet Earth is sugar. Bread, pastries, chocolate, ice cream. That is why under stress, you do not crave grilled salmon and steamed broccoli. You crave something you can shove in your mouth and feel immediate relief from. You eat the sweet thing, your blood sugar spikes. The spike itself shuts down the primitive alarm signal because your body, reading the rapid rise in glucose, decides the emergency is over. For about 45 minutes, you feel okay. Then your blood sugar crashes back down, often below where it started, and the alarm starts ringing again. You want more. This is the emotional eating loop, and it has nothing to do with weakness. It has to do with biology that was useful in the savannah and is now a liability in the office. Once you learn to spot emotional hunger versus physical hunger, you eliminate an enormous percentage of unnecessary eating, especially in the evening. And why is the evening when this hits hardest? Because during the day, you are busy. There are meetings, errands, conversations, deadlines, movement. In the evening, you are alone with your own thoughts and everything you spent the day pushing aside. The emotions catch up, the unspoken frustrations catch up, and your brain looks for the simplest possible way to change how you feel. The simplest, fastest, most reliable way? Open the refrigerator. A common practical experiment people try. When the urge to open the fridge hits in the evening and you are not actually hungry, put on your sneakers and walk outside for 15 to 20 minutes. It works at least as well as the cookie, often better. Your state shifts, your head clears. The accumulated tension of the day works its way out, and the emotional hunger genuinely passes. You can test this on yourself tonight. The first time it actually works, you will feel like you have unlocked something most people never figure out. Mistake number 7 is constant snacking and liquid calories. This is the mistake the title of this video hinted at, and for good reason. Most snacking happens on autopilot. People do not even register that they are eating. There is a well-documented pattern that shows up in clinical case records. A man we'll call James walks past the kitchen counter, grabs an apple, eats it. Clean conscience, it's an apple. Apples are healthy. An hour later, he walks past again, takes a handful of nuts. Another hour, he takes a couple of clementines from the bowl and eats them while standing. He hasn't sat down for a real snack. He is sure he hasn't really eaten anything between meals. Ask him to add it up. 300 to 500 extra calories he never accounted for. And remember, this is on top of his regular breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Fruit is the most misunderstood category here. Fruit feels safe, and in most contexts, whole fruit is genuinely good for you. But fruit that is high in fructose, like grapes, mandarin oranges, bananas, figs, dates, is sneaky in terms of calories and blood sugar. Eaten by the handful, eaten one after another, fruit can absolutely contribute to weight gain. The fiber in whole fruit helps slow down the sugar absorption. But when you eat fruit in large quantities, fast, you outpace the fiber's protective effect and end up with a sugar spike anyway. Now the second half of this mistake, liquid calories. Cappuccino, latte, fresh pressed juice, smoothies, tea with honey, tea with milk, hot chocolate, sweetened iced tea. A common defense is, but there's no sugar in my latte, I drink it unsweetened. Here is what matters. Anything that raises your blood sugar counts as eating. Black coffee with no sugar, no milk, no syrup does not raise blood sugar meaningfully. Tea the same way. Those are not snacks. But a latte? A latte is a glass of milk with some coffee in it. The milk sugar, lactose, and the milk fat and the milk protein together add up to roughly the calories of a small meal. A flat white, a mocha, a macchiato made with caramel syrup, those are full meals in a paper cup. In the summer, people add iced coffee drinks, smoothies, fresh pressed juices to the rotation. All of them count as eating. All of them need to be honestly entered into your daily picture. Try this experiment for 1 or 2 weeks. Cut out all snacks between meals and cut out all liquid calories. 3 meals, plain water in between. Many people who do this are genuinely shocked at how much easier their weight feels, without changing what they eat at meals, without restricting any specific food, just by removing the constant background drip of hidden calories. Water instead of a snack is one of the simplest tools available, and you can test it on yourself starting today. Mistake number 8 is overestimating how many calories your workout burns. This is one of the most stubborn illusions in modern fitness culture. A documented pattern that appears in coaching practice over and over. A couple, we'll call them Mike and Carol, both spend an hour on the tennis court together. Same court, same length of time. Carol cannot understand how Mike supposedly burned 1,000 calories while she only burned 500. The explanation is basic physics. Mike moves more aggressively, hits harder, recovers faster, engages more large muscle groups, runs more total distance during the same hour. Carol plays a more measured, conservative game. They were on the court for the same time, but they did not do the same work. After the match, if they eat the same dinner because they earned it, Mike's body can absorb that meal and Carol's cannot. Same court, same time, completely different calorie output. People who are just starting an exercise routine almost always overestimate what they are burning. The actual calorie cost of a workout depends on intensity above everything. That is the first factor. Then duration, then which muscle groups are involved, then how fit you already are, then ambient temperature, then how trained you are at that specific activity. An hour of casual walking and an hour of interval running are not in the same universe, since the running burns 2 to 3 times as many calories. An hour of restorative yoga and an hour of CrossFit are similarly far apart. The numbers your cardio machine displays on the screen are typically overstated by 20 to 30%, and independent research has confirmed this repeatedly. Treadmills, ellipticals, stationary bikes all tend to flatter you with optimistic numbers. The post-workout reward is the trap that catches almost everyone. You burn a real 300 calories during your workout, then you earn a slice of cake at 600 calories. The math? You are net positive 300 calories on the day. Repeat this pattern 4 times a week and you are looking at gaining roughly a pound every 2 weeks while you are working out. That is the cruel arithmetic of treating exercise as a license to overeat. A workout is not permission to eat more. A workout is an investment in your muscle mass, your metabolic rate, your bone density, your joint mobility, your cardiovascular fitness, your sleep quality, and your mood. Your weight, on the other hand, is decided at the plate. It is dramatically harder to burn off excess food at the gym than to simply not eat it at the table. Mistake number 9 is believing you cannot lose weight without daily weigh-ins and obsessive calorie counting. There is real value in tracking for a short period to learn what your day actually looks like, which is exactly what I described in mistake number 1. But the long-term habit of stepping on the scale every morning and entering every almond into an app is, for most people, more of an obstacle than a tool. When all your attention is locked onto a number on the scale and another number on a calculator, you stop paying attention to the things that actually move the needle, like what you eat, when you eat, what foods go together, how often you eat, how consistent your meal rhythm is. Body weight can swing a pound or two within a single day, just from water retention, salt, your menstrual cycle, bowel movements, even the temperature in your bedroom. A loss of half a pound this morning means nothing. A gain of half a pound this morning also means nothing. But people ride that number up and down emotionally, and they make impulsive decisions based on noise instead of signal. What works far better is a built system. What goes on your plate at each meal, roughly when you eat, what you drink, how you sleep, how much you move. When a system becomes a habit, it runs almost on its own, with very little willpower required. And that is where the sustainable result comes from, in both your weight and your overall health. The scale can sit in the bathroom, but as a quiet reference, checked once a week or every 2 weeks, not as a daily judge. That is more than enough to see the real trend without being yanked around by the noise. Mistake number 10 is not planning your meals in advance. This is the one that sounds the most boring and is the most consequential. Even people who deeply understand nutrition fall into this trap, and I include myself in that. Because life happens, plans change, schedules collide. But here's what comes up in the documented patterns of weight management practice. Do not go to the grocery store hungry. Do not go to a restaurant hungry. Both of those situations turn off the higher reasoning part of your brain and turn on the ancient survival circuits. And those circuits do not care about your weight loss goals. When you walk into a supermarket hungry, you buy things you would not normally eat. You pick up snacks, frozen pizzas, the entire bakery section, things designed to look irresistible. You take it all home, you eat most of it, and you sit there feeling sluggish, bloated, frustrated, thinking you fell off the wagon again. When you walk into a restaurant hungry, you order the most calorically loaded items on the menu. Extra bread, extra sauce, definitely dessert, because the only signal in your brain is eat a lot. Eat right now. Once you are physically hungry past a certain point, your decision making is no longer in your control. The biology is ancient and it overrides any reasonable plan you had walking in. The fix is simple and underrated. Know, before you are hungry, what you are going to eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Know where you are going to eat. Keep basic foods stocked at home. Eggs, fish, chicken, frozen vegetables, fresh greens, oats, beans, lentils. That single habit removes 90% of impulsive food decisions made under stress. And eat on roughly a consistent schedule, within 30 minutes of the same time every day. When your body knows food is coming at a predictable time, it does not panic. When you eat on a rhythm, you do not let yourself get to the point of acute hunger. And when you do not get to acute hunger, you do not crash and binge. The whole logic is incredibly simple. The whole logic works for almost everyone. Here is something worth knowing as you put all of this into practice. After age 40, insulin resistance becomes meaningfully more common. Your baseline metabolic rate slows down, and the strategies that worked for you in your 30s simply do not produce the same results. The body that responds to a particular intervention at 35 is not the same body at 48. How old are you? Drop your age in the comments. It genuinely helps shape what content gets covered next and how the science gets framed for the people watching this channel. Here is what to take away from all of this. The reason most weight loss attempts fail is not because of one missing piece of magic. There is no single diet, no single supplement, no single workout protocol that solves this. The reason is that 10 mistakes are running quietly in the background while people focus on one or two things. Honestly, account for everything that goes in your mouth, including drinks, oils, sauces, and the snacks you do not register as eating. Fix your sleep, because without it, almost everything else gets undermined. Check whether your plate has enough protein and enough fiber to actually keep you full and absorbing slowly. Ask your doctor about a fasting insulin test as part of your regular checkup, especially if you are over 40. Learn to tell physical hunger apart from emotional hunger, and try the walk instead of the fridge experiment tonight if the evening cravings are familiar to you. Remove the constant snacking and the liquid calories, since this is often the first change that produces visible results in a week or two. Stop treating workouts as a license to eat more, because exercise is for your health and the plate is for your weight. Step off the daily scale and onto a weekly check-in, while building the underlying system that does the work for you. Plan what you are going to eat before hunger gets to make the decision. Every one of these is something you can begin discussing with a healthcare provider this week. Take what is useful here, but run any specific changes by a doctor who knows your full picture before you act on them. If this gave you something genuinely useful, hit subscribe and leave a like. That is what helps this channel grow. 300,000 subscribers is the goal, and you are part of getting there. Practical checklists and follow-up posts go out on my Telegram channel, so scan the QR code on your screen.